Hello there, friends, and welcome back to more Final Fantasy VI. Last time, we escaped the Magitech research facility with a few Espers in tow and returned to Terra and Zozo, who seemed to react to one of the Magicites. And today, we're going to be finally understanding the connection between Terra and the Espers. We find ourselves here in a completely different world, controlling a completely different character. We don't have access to the menu, and all we really have is a way forward, and that's outside. We are here in the Esper world, and we can already tell it's very different. The overall feel is off. It's a darker sky, and the characters around here are very different. Maduine, someone's trying to come through the gate. Oh, so we are playing as Maduine. We actually have him as an Esper right now. He was in the research facility, so we have a decent idea of who we're playing as. Before we move up north, though, let's go ahead and explore around this place. The Esper world, at least the explorable part of it, isn't very large, so take your time. There's a few interesting things to look around, but we have some NPCs here. Is it your turn to watch the gate, Maduine? I assume so. This one's nasty storm. Be careful, Maduine. So that's why the sky is dark. Seems a storm is brewing. Oh, that can't be good. There's another cave entrance in here. To the Elder's house. There's an ominous air about this evening. Good evening, Maduine. Nothing up here. There isn't anything to gather here in the Esper world. This is just a segment where you can talk to Espers and see what's going on. I think it's best if we take advantage of the time we have here and try to see as much as we can. Good evening, Maduine. The Espers are varied in their biological design, and that's pretty interesting. Normally it's just regular humans and whatnot. And speaking of... Hey, pull yourself together. Wait, is this, Well, I think it would be rude to just leave her here on the ground, unconscious. Let's see if we can return with her. She's still quite weak. She'll need to rest for a while. She's a human. She must have wandered in from the other world by mistake. We ought to kill it right away. Humans and Espers are incompatible. It seems a little rushed. Let's go see how she's doing. Did I wake you? You're an Esper. What's that pendant around your neck? I'll give it to you. A charm from the Esper world. The Esper world. So that's where I ended up. Everyone is at a loss at how you, a human, could have made it into our world. You're the one who saved me, aren't you? My name is Madeline. I was sick of living in the human world. It's nothing but a pit of greed and hate. So I wandered out into the storm, and before I knew it, I was here. They say that humans and Espers can't coexist. Are you saying you don't want me here? No, I'm just not sure. I'll return to my own world tomorrow. Alright. Someone can show you the way back. Seems like some time has passed. Skies are a bit brighter now. Seems like that storm has subsided. That human already left. I wonder if she'll be alright without a guide. That human girl went to the gate quite a while ago. If the humans learned of our powers and decided to try and make use of them, that would be a terrible thing indeed. Do you have any idea of what you've done? I don't know, we just talked to a human. I don't really think that's such a big deal. Just because humans and Espers are seemingly... they can't coexist doesn't mean that we can't at least converse. Who knows? Let's go see if there's anyone else in this house over here. Seemed like the residents were definitely greeting Madeline with hostility. The barrier between our worlds must have weakened over the past millennium. Everyone is worried. Well, I guess there's nothing for us to do. It's Maduine's time to guard the gate, so I guess we better go do our job. What's wrong, Maduine? If you don't want to go back to your world, you're welcome to stay here. But humans and Espers can't be together. How can we know for sure unless we try for ourselves? Humans! The nexus between our worlds has opened again. This storm is just like the one 2 years ago. But this is different from the time Madeline came here. This one brings with it an army that seeks our magical powers. This is no good. Retreat to the Elder's house. Aha! I finally found it! After all that time spent decoding the secrets of those ancient texts, now it's time to reap the rewards. Grab them! Riches to any man who captures an Esper! Go! Terra's alright. It won't be long before the humans make it here. We've no choice. We must do the very thing we've been avoiding. You mean, the magic barrier? I'll create a tempest to sweep all the invaders out of our realm, then I'll seal the gate. Even among Espers, the power to create a magical seal is limited to a single bloodline. I am the last of that line. At your age, I may not survive, and without me, you will never again be able to open the gate. Madeline. The other world holds nothing for me. Then it's decided. We have no other choice. This is all because of that human woman. Nonsense. She could have led them here for all we know. Enough. But she's one of them. It'll only be a matter of time before she decides she wants our power. Oh no. Madeline took Terra and left. Where are you going? Madeline, she... Oh no. But it's already too late. I've begun activating the seal. You won't be able to return. I don't care. We're being pushed out! No! Just when the ultimate treasure was within my grasp. Maduine, I'm nothing like them. I know. Thank you. Will you come back home with me? Yes, of course. Terra! Madeline! human woman and a babe? Leave my daughter alone. Your daughter? Then she must be the product of a human and, Oh, how fascinating. It looks like my dreams of building an empire may come true sooner than I'd imagined. No, quiet. This world will be mine to rule. Is that father's? Though I'm the daughter of an Esper and a human, that's why I have these abilities. I should be okay now. I can control this power, as long as I only use it in short bursts. Gestal already knew the secret of the Esper's power back then. Those Espers in the research facility must have been the ones they grabbed that day, and Celeste's power came at the expense of one of them. The Empire won't get away with this. I'll hit that Emperor with a blitzer too. How are things in Narsh? Maybe we should head back and see. The airship's ready to go. Come on. Oh, by all means, take a turn at the wheel. Let me teach you how to fly. Press confirm to move forward. Change course with the left and right directional buttons and adjust altitude with the up and down directional buttons. I like to assume that Cesar actually doesn't have a steering wheel for his ship. He just got big glowing red buttons with confirm, left, right, and up, down. Press the menu button to move inside the ship. Once again, you can change party members and purchase items. You can disembark by pressing cancel. To board, press confirm near the ship. Got it? I'm sure I do. There's nice glowy buttons in the middle of the bridge over there. Would you like me to teach you some special techniques as well? Sure, why not? Press and hold the ZL button when using the directional buttons to move without changing the way the airship's facing. This is especially useful when trying to land. Press left and the L button or right and the R button to do a speedy about face. Oh, interesting. So yeah, we now can take the wheel of the Blackjack ourselves without needing Setzer to pilot it. And we can kind of fly around as much as we want. We can see these interesting tricks where we can kind of change our speed and where we're going, but without actually turning the ship itself. That's the minimap button. With the Blackjack in hand, the world is sort of our oyster now. We can go to every single area that we've already been to and complete some objectives that were normally not accessible. Or we can just continue the main story and see what happens from there. And I think for right now, I am going to go ahead and follow Terra's advice and head back to Narsh to see what's going on. We've been waiting for you. Please follow me. Oh, you're here! The people of Narsh have finally decided to fight the Empire. How did things go in Vector? I like how I didn't set my party, so the only two party members in your team right now are supposed to be Setzer and Locke. But you actually can change out your team, I just didn't do it, so only Setzer and Locke came to this meeting, which is a little interesting. I see. We've been trying to work out a plan to make use of Narsh's resources and Figaro's machinery, but we just don't have enough troops to storm the Empire. We have no choice but to open the sealed gate. Terra! You mean the gate to the Esper world? We'll never beat the Empire without their help. The sealed gate lies to the Empire's east. When we open it, the Espers can attack from there while we launch an invasion from the north. An attack on two fronts. We must re-establish the bond of trust that once existed between humans and Espers. The Espers must be made to understand, and there's only one among us who can make them. Terra. If humans and Espers were truly incompatible, I would never have been born. I'll do it. I'm the only one who can. So we do have our next main objective, and that is to go and see if we can reason with the Espers. I'm not gonna mince words here. Bannon definitely doesn't seem like the most sane revolutionary leader. Especially with his terms, we're going to make them understand our motives to take down the Empire. Yes, the Empire is bad and all that, but it doesn't really seem like Bannon is much better. But anyways, we have our next objective. Let's go ahead and talk to these guys. The sealed gate lies to the Empire's far east, but they keep it under tight surveillance. Please, find a way to slip through and open the gate. I think we have a decent idea of where that would be. Now we are left with no choice but to take up arms against the Empire. I suppose this was inevitable. If we can get the Espers to understand, we can put an end to this war once and for all. Terra, I know you can do it. Well, Terra's not in the party right now. We're not going to worry about any of this. Now that we have decided to go to the Esper Cave, there are a few new things that have opened up. But the main thing that I want to go do is head to the Blackjack and set up our team for a very specific thing. As there is one key piece of information that I do want to go over now that we're sort of back to being a crew that can tackle anything we want at any order. If we go inside the Blackjack here, and we go to kind of the main lobby, we can see our party members just kind of roaming around the ship. If we talk to them, I'm not just sitting here playing games. I'm thinking up our next strategy. Sure thing, Edgar. We can talk to them, they have a nice little piece of dialogue, and we can change our party around. Let's go ahead and switch back to law, because I want to see everyone's current dialogue. We're also sent back out of the lobby room every single time we switch party members. Sabin, let me at the Empire. I do not want to change party members. Setzer, what's important to me? But if I were attached to things, I could never be a gambler. I guess that's kind of true. Cayenne, I cannot forgive the Empire. That's very true. Gao, got anything insightful? Gao gets stronger on Velt. That is true. You do get stronger on the Velt, and because of all the new enemies we have in our bestiary, you definitely do a revisit. Terra, don't worry. I'm sure a peaceful future is right around the corner. I hope so too. Let's go ahead and swap our team members. Terra stays relatively the same level that she was initially. She gains a few extra boosts, but normally she's going to be the average of your party level, which in my case would be level 15, which is honestly not too bad. But we're going to need to make sure she catches up in terms of magic and magicite bonuses. And included in that is Cayenne, Gao, and Setzer. Every party member that was not part of the other segment. These are going to be kind of our main four for a little while. There we go. We're going to go ahead and remove all gear that is currently not in my party. And there are a lot of things that we need to figure out here. First things first, we're going to go ahead and set everyone that isn't Gao into the back row. And we're going to kind of work around here when it comes to equipment. We got this blood sword from number 24. Oop, did not mean to push that button. The main thing the blood sword does is that it'll absorb HP from its victims. Every single time you do a physical attack, it'll drain the HP based on how much damage you did. It's not exactly the amount of damage you did, but the calculation's a little strange. But it is a pretty nice way of self-sustaining your party. I, on the other hand, am probably just going to slap an Ice Brand on Terra, as magic, again, is very nice with her, and I'm going to try and use that as kind of my main thing with Terra. And included in that, we're going to give her... I could give her the Magus hat to give her +5 on the magic. We had Celeste wear that for a little while. I think I'll go ahead and do that. And then we'll have her wear the white dress that was also on Celeste. And then we're going to give her... I think it's best if we just go ahead and give her 2 earrings, as the magic boost is going to be very, very important for her. In terms of Setzer, he already comes with gear. He comes with cards, which, if we look at that, a deck of playing cards sporting the mark of a casino. cards are decent, but they're not really the best attack weapon. And also, Setzer doesn't really come with the best armor, so we're going to try and give him something decent. We're going to give him the green beret and the ninja gear. And then in terms of what else I can give him, I think it would probably be best if I gave him Hermes sandals and maybe one earring, as, well, I don't want to go into it too much, as this is, we're not going to be going over Setzer anytime soon. Magic is going to be something I lean a little bit more towards when it comes to raising Setzer as a character. Cayenne, if you have the Kazakiri from the number 128 steel, you can go ahead and give him that, but otherwise, Yashar will work perfectly fine. We're going to give him the Hyper Wrist to increase his strength as much as possible. And then I think we're also going to give him Hermes Sandals to increase his speed. Mithril Vest is fine. And let's go ahead and give him the Twist Headband to increase his strength even higher. And then Gao obviously doesn't really have much, so we'll give him a Shield, Hero's Ring, and Hyper Wrist. I guess I could actually give him the Gigas Glove instead. Yeah, I'll go and do that. That'll increase his physical attack power by quite a bit. Genji, the Ninja Gear, and let's give him the Green Beret. Actually, I'll go ahead and give him the Hero's Ring and not worry about the Hyper Wrist. There we go. Alright, our party is all outfitted out, which is really nice. But what is the main thing I want to do for this episode? Well, honestly speaking, the only real thing that I want to do for the remainder of this episode is head over to the Veldt, and while I'm not going to go over literally every single teeny tiny thing there is to do in the Veldt right now, I'm going to save that for a little later, I do want to go ahead and try to take a few things down while I talk about Terra, as now she has access to her main gimmick. So, let's go ahead and talk about it. So, we can finally go over the character that started it all, Terra. As we already know, Terra is a character that boasts a balanced stat spread with a general focus in magic, making her a prime candidate for dishing out powerful magic attacks or providing heals to the party. Now, similar to Celeste, which is something that rings true with pretty much the entirety of Terra's kit, Terra has access to a wide array of equipment options, ranging from powerful swords to useful armor that can help boost her stats to higher levels than they already are. Because of this, it is really up to the player to decide how Terra will fit into the party, as she can really do anything you want her to do at least somewhat well. Also, as we've already seen in the playthrough, Terra will learn certain magic spells naturally as she levels up, so if you're trying to be very precise on what Magicite you give her, you'll know what magic to not waste time learning. And speaking of Magicite, let's move on to some recommendations. Personally speaking, I usually tend to lean towards giving Terra more magic-focused Magicite to help boost her magic stat, while also giving her more options for damage and support. But similar to Celeste, you can't go wrong handing her a sword, pointing her at the enemy, and saying go crazy. It really does come down to personal preference, but if I were to make a suggestion, whatever you didn't decide to focus with Celeste, be it physical or magical, have Terra focus on that so you weren't doubling up on one strategy. While it is perfectly fine to have two powerful sword users or two powerful magic casters, it might be easier to manage only one of each due to a limited supply of equipment options for the majority of the game. In terms of relics, Terra is going to want the standard magic increasing relics like earrings, Hero's Ring, and whatnot, but in the later portions of the game, relics like the Soul of Thamasa or Celestiad will come in handy, as they will allow Terra to just mow down enemies left and right with ease. The Gigas Glove can also prove useful if you intend to go down the physical attacker path with Terra. Now let's go ahead and move on to Terra's newly acquired ability, Trance. When activated, Terra transforms into her Esper form, and her ATB gauge will begin depleting at a predetermined rate. When the gauge depletes fully, Terra will return to her human form. While in Esper form, Terra's physical and magical damage output will be doubled, and her magic defense will also be doubled. This allows Terra to deal an incredible amount of damage as soon as she gets access to this ability, making her one of the best characters to bring when going up against tanky enemies and bosses. The duration of Trance is a little tricky to understand if you don't really go out of your way to test things, so I'll do my best to explain it here. Every time you obtain AP from combat, that AP is put into a hidden Trance counter inside of the game's code. Once the counter reaches 16 points, Trance becomes available for use. This counter can go up as high as 255 points. with the higher the count giving a longer trance duration. Once the trance gauge is used up in combat, this hidden AP counter will reset from 0, and you'll begin the process all over again. This hidden AP counter has no effect on the AP you use to learn magic, so don't worry about losing AP or anything like that when using trance. They are two separate systems. This means that gaining time while in trance is mostly made to keep you from spamming it too often, so just make sure you continue to have Terra in battles, win them, gain AP, and then use trance when you really need to, like boss battles. All in all, Terra is a very easy character to understand. Big damage numbers, awesome selection of weapons and armor, and a powerful ability that does nothing but improve upon what Terra already does well. A very powerful character that will excel at anything you want her to. Alright, with a little bit of a grinding session there in the Veldt, I got a few rage abilities, nothing too crazy, but we can see that there are a few new things. The Chaser was a big one for me that I found, but nothing too worth noting. But yeah, Terra is a very interesting character, and her trance ability is going to come in handy for just ripping and tearing through bosses before we can very easily hit the damage cap of the game. But honestly, that's about it for today. We've got a large amount of lore covered, and we know our next destination. However, next time on Final Fantasy VI, because of how many things have opened up in our new mode of transportation, I think we're going to go ahead and take a look at a few other things that we can do, starting with Narsh and a potential new party member. I know, a new one already. So, with that said, I'll see you soon.